In this video, we're going to be talking about where to teach English in Vietnam. So if you're thinking about teaching English in Vietnam and want to know more about the different cities and locations that you can teach English in, this video is for you. So I'm Alex Stevenson, the founder of Ninja Teacher, where we've helped over 1,000 people start teaching English in Vietnam, getting trained to be English teachers and finding jobs. So I can talk a bit about what our teachers decide to do after they complete their TEFL course and where in the country they go to teach. So let's get straight into it. The two most popular locations are Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. And that's because they're the biggest cities in Vietnam. They have around 10 million population each, and they have a high demand for English education. There's lots of English centers in both cities, as well as jobs in public schools. So there's a big demand for English teachers in these locations, which make them really good locations to start teaching in, especially if you're a first-time teacher. And you can get absolutely everything you need to live comfortably and well in these big cities. There's great food, nightlife, everything, all the comforts that you'd want. English is spoken well, there are many malls, lots of things to do, great cities to live in, and there are really good communities of other foreigners, other English teachers living in these cities so that you can meet other people that are also living abroad to form a good community. And then there's also lots of locals who are very friendly, welcoming to foreigners. So it's quite easy to make lots of friends, and especially among the younger generations, English is spoken really well. So quite easy to settle in and very comfortable to live in these big cities. And because Ninja Teacher is based here in Ho Chi Minh City and we run our 4-week in-classroom TEFL training course here, a large majority of our alumni and graduates decide to stay in Ho Chi Minh City. That's because they've met up to 16 other people in their program. I think it's a nice way to meet other people, and then you've already got a community formed, made some friends, which is why a lot of people decide to stay here. And we have a lot of other alumni from previous courses that have stayed here, so we have a nice community. So I'd say about at least 60 to 80% of our graduates stay in Ho Chi Minh City. And then usually a few every month also decide to go up to Hanoi. So we have lots of other videos on this channel about Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi, so you can watch those to learn a bit more about what life is like in these big cities. So next up then is the provinces and smaller cities throughout Vietnam. Now, there are a number of provinces that surround the big cities of Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi, and these are developing, growing areas which have also a growing demand for English education. So there are more and more job opportunities coming up in these provinces around the cities. So we're talking about these provinces like Binh Hoa and Binh Nhung, which are near Ho Chi Minh City. There are also the provinces surrounding Hanoi, like Bac Ninh, and all of these provinces that sort of border on the big cities. And then you have the smaller cities throughout Vietnam. There are cities like Can Tho, which is developing very quickly. That's in the south of Vietnam in the Mekong Delta region. And then cities spread out throughout the country like Hai Phong, Ha Long, where Ha Long Bay is. In the south, there's coastal cities like Vung Tau. Now with these provinces and cities, it just depends where job openings are available. So I wouldn't pick one and then say, I'm going to teach there and then try and find a job. It's more see what job options are available in these different locations and then decide on a job and then go out and move to that location where you get a job. Now just be aware, for certain cities throughout Vietnam that are popular tourist destinations like Da Nang, Hoi An, Da Lat, it's extremely difficult to secure jobs in these locations. And that's just because they're smaller cities, there's less demand for English education. There's usually only a handful of English centers in these locations and usually no public school jobs. And because they are popular tourist destinations, those people who have got the jobs there that do exist usually do stay longer term. So only now and again do openings become available, and then it's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time to get one of those jobs. And that's even for really experienced teachers, it's just a matter of timing, I would say. So for these popular tourist destinations, it would just be a matter of getting lucky basically to be able to get a job there. So what do you need to know about living in the provinces or in the smaller cities in Vietnam? Well, for one, the cost of living is going to be a bit lower than Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi, which is nice because then you can actually save more money as an English teacher in Vietnam. You can download a copy of our salary and living expenses guide at the link below. I'll leave it in the description so you can learn more about the living costs and salaries you can make here. But that is a great way if you really want to save some money. There's also maybe maybe potentially less stuff to spend on in these smaller cities, whereas in the big cities there's a lot to do and spend money on. These smaller cities can be a really great way to immerse yourself in Vietnamese culture though. If you're looking to learn the language, it can be really good because English might not be spoken as widely, so you might be encouraged to learn the language more. And each of the different regions of Vietnam and the smaller cities have their own aspects to the culture which are unique to that region, different types of food, different scenery, different things to experience. There'll likely be smaller expat communities in these cities, but also a great way to integrate yourself into the culture in Vietnam. If you want to get that really local, authentic experience, this can be a great way to do it. So I'd say about 20 to 30% of our graduates go out to teach in smaller cities throughout Vietnam. So that's a broad overview of the locations that you can potentially teach English in Vietnam. And the nice thing is that once you've got some experience, there's even more opportunities throughout the country and in other countries around the world. Getting your foot in the door with your first teaching job and getting that first year's worth of experience, if you are planning to do this long term, is a great way to get more opportunities in different locations too. Or even if you're planning to only come out and teach English for about a year. I would say going with one of the big cities like Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi is a great place to start. I think you can have an amazing time living in Vietnam in one of these cities. But if teaching English in one of the provinces or smaller cities sounds like more your speed, then that's also a great option and a rewarding experience living and teaching English here in Vietnam. So I hope that video is helpful. Stay tuned for more videos about teaching English in Vietnam, and we'll speak to you soon. Peace.